house and a DJ right here. So you're halfway there.
So, yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
Great. So we are Russ and Rebecca Climie. We're excited to be here. You guys excited to be here tonight? Fantastic. Wait. So we're already behind. So anyway, we live in a tiny house in downtown Grand Rapids, where it's technically not a tiny house. We're not purists. We live in a 500 square foot apartment at the Morton, and we've been married. We've actually known each other since we were in middle school, and have been married since we were 20. And we did what most people do. They go to school, get good grades, get a safe, secure job. I started out as a photographer, and we piled on a ton of debt, right? You guys know this story of mid-20s. They go out, they have $80,000 in student loans, they buy a $100,000 house, and we were just, by 25, we had over $200,000 in debt.
Boo, right? Okay, so we felt like we were handcuffed, and it was funny because all of our friends and our family, they all were like, hey, you guys are doing the right thing, and this is awesome, lots of pats on the back, right? Well, but it was a golden prison cell that we felt like we had locked ourselves in, and we didn't know what to do. We wanted to make a change. And we're runners, so we would run downtown, and we loved the cityscape. And when we graduated from college, we always said, man, we should move to a big city. But then Russ started his company, so here we are in Grand Rapids. Grand Rapids is great. We wanted to be downtown. We just didn't know what to do, and we couldn't afford it. That was the bottom line. So we met a friend who became our financial mentors, and he suggested do something radical. Turn off your TV, and you'll get debt-free. So we did it. We turned off our TV, we became debt-free, and essentially we learned that TV was teaching us to be consumers and buy things that we couldn't afford and we didn't need.
And this was me in terms of home ownership, right? So we had this monkey on our back of owning a house, and that's about as much as I like doing housework and mowing the lawn. And you know what? We wanted to get this monkey off of our backs, and we were not excited to really take care of our home. And so enter the Morton and Urbaneer. If you guys have not heard of Urbaneer, they're a local company. We absolutely love them. But we saw that the Morton was opening last year, realized they had basically an all-inclusive. We were able to move into a space completely furnished, and we decided to go for it. And so we took the leap, and after hearing a message here at Noto's while we were photographing a wedding about World War II paratroopers yelling Geronimo as they jumped out of the plane on D-Day, we decided to do the same thing and decided to move down to the Morton.
So this word is actually on our hallway in our tiny apartment. So what we did was we took the leap, right? We listed our house and we sold it by the grace of God. We could not believe it. Don't get me wrong, we had to bring lots of cash to the table. Another boo. But the reality is when we sold our house, we also sold everything in it. And the more we sold, the more free we felt like we were becoming. And I think that was something that we were not necessarily expecting. So we moved into a tiny apartment, which actually is 328 square feet of livable space. But we learned a bunch of things, right? We learned that your space can have multi-uses. Like this is our living room and our bedroom. You only sleep at night when people are not there. Put the bed away, people. We also learned that tiny houses, essentially you don't have a lot of decisions or upkeep. Russ's feet there, that's how many leaves we raked this year.
Yeah, y'all, home on.
I don't know about you guys, but we also still have plenty of community space to hold lots of parties. In fact, we've had 30 to 35 people on that deck that you just saw.
And we love it because we didn't have any design decisions. We just literally could move in, right? I mean, talk about freedom, right? And so as we purged our life, we started asking questions of how much clothing do you need? How many sets of dishes does one family need? And through all of this, we learned that the things that go in a house actually should have meaning. If they don't have meaning, why do you have them? Why did we have them? And so all of the things that are in our home now have a memory attached to them. And that was extremely important to us. And ultimately, we realized living in downtown Grand Rapids, all of a sudden the city becomes your backyard. We live up on the 5th floor and we come down and we explore. And we absolutely love it. We get to be part of an ecosystem in a community that we've dreamed about being a part of for a long time, but never really had the courage to go do anything about until we found this tiny house option.
So we also figured out that time is really way more valuable than money. And all of the debt and all of the things that we were buying and doing it was just, like I said, it was a prison cell. We recouped so much time. It was unbelievable. And we started spending that time on things that actually mattered to us, like our family. And what we want to say to you guys is just identify your priorities, right? And even if those priorities look crazy to other people, pursue them passionately. Like, this little guy looks crazy, but it works for him, right?
And we want to encourage you to start making memories with those that you love the most. For us, it's our nieces and nephews. We don't have kids. We've been married 14 years, no kids yet. But we have 7 nieces and nephews that live in the area. And we plan experiences. We have them over at night. We've actually had nine of us sleeping in our 328 square foot apartment. So it can be done. You don't need 3,000 square feet. Love you guys if you have 3,000. But ultimately, living tiny has allowed us to travel all over the place. That's also important to us. Traveling is very important. I tell people when we die, we want our caskets to slide 10 feet because we were going so fast. And in the last year, we've been able to go to DC, Chicago, Florida, Disney World, Bahamas, St. Louis, Kansas City, the UP, rafting in Pennsylvania, Mackinac Island, and a bucket list trip of going to Egypt.
And it really does look like that. Y'all should go. But no, what we just want to leave with you tonight is it's not about the square footage of your house, but it is about pursuing your priorities. And the world is big. You got to get out there and figure out who you are and live it. So get out there.